much. Oh, good morning. Wow. Good morning. I know you needed that stretch for a moment there. How about those ladies on the panel? And Catherine Stevens. You know, almost 2 years ago, I read Catherine's report. I was perusing through some materials that Lori had given me, as she normally does, and I caught this report from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce about Workforce Today and Workforce of Tomorrow, and I had made a mistake one time, and I was talking at the Washington something another journal or newspaper, and they said, when did schools really become challenged in America? And I said, well, when both parents went to work, necessarily. Oh, my goodness. He's blaming working women. They went crazy. That was the worst thing ever. I tried to explain to them, but you've got to understand that then we started thinking about how do we put 4-year-olds in school? And it began to change the dynamic. What do we do with 3-year-olds? What do we do with newborns? So it began to challenge everything that we knew. We just had to solve that problem. Now, the great thing about where Mississippi's at now, as you've heard, and I'm so excited to hear, we're ahead of the curve on this one. Once I read Catherine's report and I looked at the science, I said, oh, now we know. I should have known better. But see, when we had children, we were very busy. Deborah was working at the hospital, and I was working full-time, and I ran for office, and things really got complicated. But we would get our children home at night and read to them and work with them and help them learn those soft skills. Now we have grandchildren, 1 4, 1 2, and 1 9 weeks. All 3 of them were at the house last night. That's why Deborah's a little late this morning. But I can tell you, you can see them growing, and we were getting them ready for daycare, and they're going off to child care this morning, but I won't even tell you what my daughter and her husband pay for that child care. A lot. And those children will learn. I can assure you, I watched Eliza last night, a little 2-year-old, and she had one of these boxes that you put the stars and the moons and things in, and she couldn't get the top off of it, and she was frustrated. She brought it over to me, and I started to take it off, and when she saw me pull it, she stopped me. No, I'll do it. So she wanted to take it in and out. All I had to do was just show her, but she began to problem solve. She's really good at that. Now, Henry's creative. You know, he can play Transformers all day long. He can have an entire global war with Transformers, but he's there now, and we try to make sure that we have conflict resolution. You have some of that, don't you? Don't hit your sister. And there's Philip. Tell Philip, the youngest, 9 weeks, and when I'm talking to him, but more importantly, when his grandmother's talking to him, he starts to move his lips. Have you ever noticed that about babies? So just catch that. They're staring at you like, okay, you're talking, why can't I? And he looks a little frustrated like, you got words coming out and I want words. He's going to get there. But we're helping those children. They're going to be fine. But where I came from in Sunflower County, I'm not picking on Sunflower County, pick the Delta, pick Southwest Mississippi, where working moms now, and believe me, the number one reason that moms aren't working today, the ones that aren't, child care. Child care. Where do they put their children? So we are working now. We're spending about $98 million a year on federally funded daycare in the state of Mississippi. $98 million a year. About $200 million a year on Head Start. Only a portion of that is for those early learning children. But that's nearly $300 million. So we decided we better get something for it. So we started doing, as you heard, we started helping get a learning component within those child care centers. And then when we would find the mom, we'd say, what grade did you graduate from? Well, I dropped out of school because I had a child very early in life. Oh, let us help you. Let us get you back in school. Let us get you one of community colleges. So while we're there, we work with the entire family. How about the dad? Where's dad at? Is he working? Can we help teach him additional skills so he can get a better job? All of that Andrea Mayfield is helping do at community colleges all across the state of Mississippi. Now, you heard earlier, we got a unique situation. I was thinking this morning, how did we get here? How did we get to a point where we're having an entire meeting with MEC, and thank y'all very much for doing this, on workforce development? We got here because there's a need. We used to have people looking for jobs. Now we got jobs looking for people. We got 43,000 job openings just now. 43,000 job openings in the state of Mississippi. I need to fill every one of them. So we're trying all that we can. We got 83, Mark, I think 83 WIN job centers across the state of Mississippi. So they're there for anybody that wants a job. We've got an award-winning app, Mississippi Works. You can go on there and find a job and apply for a job right there. Look at all the private entities that are out there that will help you find a job. We've got 4 regional workforce training directors across the state of Mississippi. Employment, the Department of Employment, I always call it Employment Commission. It used to be a commission. But Employment Security has a wonderful website that you can go and apply for a job. If you are looking for a job in Mississippi, there are easy ways to find it. And we got to get everyone looking for one. So we've got to find out, not only can we help with that young child who needs that educational component, so our community colleges are helping teach those daycare workers, usually a young lady, usually getting paid minimum wage. She may have 12 or more 2-year-olds in a room. If I put you in a room with 12 2-year-olds, how long would you last? I would confess to something immediately. I'm telling you, think about, and I said, okay, you got to do it every day, and come back and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And oh, by the way, I want you to teach these children problem solving. I want to teach them conflict resolution. I want to teach them team building. I want to teach them languages and shapes and letters and colors. Okay, you do all that. I'm going to pay you minimum wage. I'll check with you tomorrow. Doesn't work. Shazam, it doesn't work. So we got here by not recognizing how important it was for many years. And I can tell you, I was one of the ones that said, well, that's parents' responsibility. We can't have daycares doing that. Next thing you know, they'll be teaching them some social idea, and, we don't want that. No. We just want to teach language. Just want them to be able to tell you what their name is, literally what their true given name is when they get to kindergarten. Sounds crazy, but at times they just exactly can't do that. There's a lot of work we've got to do out there, but it's exciting. And boy, we're making a lot of progress. Now, we got here by companies expanding. I was meeting with Jim and Bryant yesterday. Brian Cushis and Jim are here from Ingalls. I love to talk about Ingalls. I love building warships. Now, that's really, automobiles, we love automobiles, Nissan, Toyota, and I know I'm going to leave somebody out, but when you're building warships, you're like, warships. Dang right. Yeah, 70% of them the Navy's selling today were made in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Yeah, come get you some of that. Yeah, warships. And they got over 11,000 Mississippians and some Alabamians. That's okay. We got to help Alabama every chance we get. We really don't. But they sneak over the border. So that's why we need a wall between Alabama and Mississippi. No, I'm just joking with you on that one. But over 11,000 people are working, building warships. And we need more people doing that. Because we're going to get more business in the future. And so what they have done, what Ingalls has done, is go out and adopt about 14 different schools, high schools. And they've gone into those schools and they've retrofitted them and they funded them. And they said, let us teach the curriculum that they will need to be shipbuilders of the future. In places like Moss Point, Mississippi, and all along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. In areas where high schools are challenged. Not just because it's Mississippi. You saw earlier what Catherine said. It's happening all over America. A real challenge in public education. So states are going to have to step up and take charge. And that's exactly what we're doing. Now, I think I have one slide. We can, whoever the wizard is, there we go. So you see a few of the businesses, only a few, and I know somebody's going to come up and go, mine's not on there. This is as big as I can make them out. But we talked earlier about things like Amazon. I remember when we started talking with Amazon and folks said, oh, Amazon will never come to Mississippi. They're just too sophisticated for you. Here they are. 850 employees in Marshall County. You look at all the advanced manufacturing, aerospace industries, over 100 of them. The other thing that I will tell you is all of these that you see have been incentivized. Yeah, Glenn McCullough and I and the team at MDA and local counties and economic development folks, we took your money and we said, we will help you with infrastructure. We'll invest in workforce training if you will bring your company here. And they do. They do. So over 75,000 Mississippians, more Mississippians are working now than they were in December of 2011 when I walked into the governor's office. 75,000. Unemployment is at 4.7%, and it's been at or below 4.8% for the last 12 months in a row. So this is not an anomaly. This is not something that happened during the Christmas sales. And oh, by the way, what does that produce? Well, in the legislature, we used to call it revenue. Yeah, legislators like to appropriate. They're appropriators. That's a good word. And right now, they've got $90 million more to appropriate than they did last year at this time. Year to date, we brought in $90 million more dollars. 16% of it is in corporate taxes, 16% higher than it was last year in corporate income tax. Now, wait a minute, you say, oh, that can't be right because y'all cut taxes on corporations. Well, we're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. No, we're not. We're making money. We're making money. It's growing and thriving and expanding every day. Corporations are growing. Small businesses are expanding. They're wanting this workforce. We're just not sitting by and doing nothing about it. You heard some of the things that are happening this morning. You may have noticed that everyone up here had something in common. They're all women. I recognize that. That's why I asked them to come here. First lady came in, you notice I sat up straight. These women are absolutely remarkable in what they're doing, and they understand from a real world concept of what we're talking about and how we have to help these children develop those soft skills. I will tell you that just this morning, U.S. News, I saw this before I left, our wonderful company Enviva that provides pellets for folks that don't want to burn coal in Europe and Scandinavia and the Far East, and I'm just tickled to death with that. But we provide those pellets. So this morning they're investing $140 million in a pellet mill, $60 million in shiploading terminal on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and they will hire 90 new workers in Lucedale, Mississippi. That's just one example of what's happening, and we've got to get down there and help them. I had them at the mansion. We had dinner Monday night. We talked about how important it is, the forest industry in the state of Mississippi, and how happy I was that they were expanding, and what could we do for them? I said, you've already done it. You've created an environment in Mississippi where our company thrives and grows, and will continue to do so. We have a tremendous opportunity ahead of us. Now, I'm happy where we're at. Not satisfied, I'm kind of happy. I'm happy that we got the lowest unemployment in Mississippi's history. I'm happy that we got more children graduating from high school than any time in Mississippi's history. I'm glad for those 75,000 Mississippians. But I still understand there are those that need our help. There are those that need to have quality education starting at the earliest age. Science proves it. This is not something that's anecdotal. This is not something that we said, oh, well, it worked in California, it'd probably work here. That's what we used to do. We'd try to find one of those best practices and drag it to Mississippi, and not everything that works in California, thank goodness, works in Mississippi. But what does happen here is that Mississippi works. It works for everyone, and I want everyone here that can and that wants to be working. President Reagan once said there's no better social program than a job. So we're going to get everybody working. We're going to give them that opportunity to live and raise their family and enjoy the American dream right here in Mississippi. And MEC, the people in this room, you're helping lead the way on that. This is a remarkable moment I wished all America could see. And I've been to the White House, and I've talked to the president about this, and I've talked to Ivanka about this. And they listen. That's how, well, not how, but fortunately we got $10.6 million grant. Not to experiment, because we're doing such a good job. The government said, if we're going to invest in anybody, let's invest in Mississippi, because we know what they're doing. We can see what they're doing. They're having outcomes. And oh, by the way, This is just not 1 year. This could be an investment of $50 million if our programs produce what I think they will, and that's an educated workforce. Now, some people don't like federal grants. I had a couple of people on Facebook and said, oh, y'all taking that federal money. You betcha. Going to do it next year, and the next year, and the next year. Because Mississippi is going to do remarkable things. They're going to shock the world. As you just heard earlier, I go around the nation, these ladies go around the nation, I go around the world, and I am proud to tell of the successes of Mississippi and what we're doing here. Thank you for what you are doing. This will be the last time I'll speak to you as governor. It's finally here. We're about to escape. Deborah and I have enjoyed our time of service in the governor's office. I can tell you no one has worked harder and done more good for this state than the First Lady. So as we leave here, we want you to know that your help, your support these 7 years has made all the difference. All the difference. Realizing that we can come here, we can show you this science, we can tell you we need investment, we can ask you to reach out to community colleges, to high schools, to daycare centers, and achieve greatness, and you will do it. And we'll be standing there beside you. Thank you for what you do. God bless you all.